2-1. All right. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Now, as you see, the program asks or poses the question, is Trump right about Russia? Trump's view on Russia is what we're going to be talking about. Because obviously President Trump has a view that is the opposite. Some might even suggest polar opposite of a lot of talking heads, if not politicians in DC. Most of our political elite has a negative view of Putin and certainly Russia as a whole. Nevertheless, Trump and obviously MAGA has an opinion that's far more favorable to the nation of Russia. So we're going to be posing a simple question today. Why is President Trump's view of Russia, headed by Vladimir Putin, so different than most of Washington, if not the free world? Many folks would point out that Trump is right about a host of issues. You've seen folks with apparel on stating that Trump was right. Trump gets things right. Is he right about Russia? Perhaps Trump is seeing something that most other folks are not. So we're going to be talking about that from a standpoint of, how many of you folks heard about Alexei Navalny? Alexei Navalny was a outspoken critic of Putin. He was a Russian who lost his life this weekend. Possibly poisoned, we don't know, because Russia will not even hand his body back. Now, he was an outspoken critic of Vladimir Putin and has been constantly jailed, constantly punished for speaking out against the Russian government. Now, he is a Russian citizen. In 2020, he was officially poisoned and taken off an aircraft, going through whatever sickness that came along with the poison. The aircraft landed in Germany, and the medical staff there confirmed he was dealing with some sort of poisoning. He was such a dedicated critic and advocate against what was going on in Russia that he chose to go back to that country, even though he felt confident there was a hit on his life. Well, he's been incarcerated to this day, and now, as of this weekend, he passed away. But it goes further than that. In Russia, folks who believe that this individual was onto something are protesting his death, leaving flowers at sites dedicated to his honor. And Vladimir Putin, the government of Russia, has made it illegal to protest. Anyone leaving flowers at the memorial face jail. There's literally videos of them taking folks off to jail. So what we want to talk about is, remember, you often hear President Trump, certainly MAGA, suggest that there are neo-Nazis in the Ukraine, biolabs, things like that, and that the Ukraine is corrupt. Yet when it comes to Russia, President Trump speaks favorably of Russia. You've seen Tucker Carlson went over and did an interview also with Vladimir Putin. There's a lot of favorable communication in regards to Russia coming from Trump, coming from MAGA. So the question we're asking today is, what is Trump seeing in regards to Russia and Vladimir Putin that the rest of Washington, the rest of the free world is not seeing? Is Trump right? That's the discussion of today's program. By the way, Trump has yet to even condemn the death of Alexei Navalny. Even Nikki Haley is now hammering him for not saying anything about it. But we want to hear from you folks, and perhaps you can maybe enlighten yours truly, enlighten the host, that maybe Trump is getting it right on Russia and everyone else is not seeing his point. Program is and always shall remain MAGA friendly. That's how the program is ran in its entirety. Always has been, always will be. MAGA are the preferred guests. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. You know how we run the program. We do not block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. If you disagree with the host, no one gives a damn. That's how the program is ran. We don't censor, limit, or stifle free speech simply because you have a difference of opinion. By the way, for you folks on YouTube, feel free to smash that like button. If you enjoy civilized dialogue, both sides of the aisle, feel free to go ahead and drop a subscription. We're here Monday through Friday, 1 p.m., going straight to the box. Truth is irony. Good afternoon, Truth. What is Trump seeing in Russia that no one else is seeing? Truth, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Good to have you on.
The most handsome liberal next to me on the planet.
Okay, I'll concede the point. So I'll ask you now. You've already confessed that you lean left. What is Trump seeing in Russia that no one else is?
He sees his sweetheart.
Elaborate.
He sees his BFF. Okay, Trump and Donald Trump have a relationship, dude. I don't know. I'm not saying that it's of a sexual nature, but they definitely have a relationship where Trump looks up to Putin like you would a really good friend or a really smart person that you admire, or a big brother, or maybe even a father figure, because the way that Trump speaks about Putin is not how you would speak about someone on your level. That's someone that you are, or someone that you feel that you are, in a position higher than. Not an underling. You don't speak of them like that.
Well,
what Trump
but
obviously done. Go ahead.
But Trump believes that Vladimir Putin is simply doing what's in the best interest of his country. Is that possible? That Putin is actually not a bad guy? He's just trying to protect his country like our leader would try to protect ours.
How many leaders in the United States have their adversaries killed?
Depends on who you ask, because some folks...
I mean, you think it's
Go ahead.
The general that was against him, that his plane just magically blew up in the middle in the sky. You think this guy, I forget his name now, that you're talking about,
Navalny, Alexei Navalny,
Bodeslevy or whatever, Navalny. Okay, this guy got poisoned, he got dye in his face, green dye in his face 2 times, and now they said he went for a walk in -5-degree weather. That he went for a walk and that's how he died. Yeah. Bro, you have to be addled in order to think that that's accurate information.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you it goes further than that, because as we talked about earlier, it's illegal in Russia to protest his death. Also, his widow, his wife, is all over global TV saying that they are refusing to give the body back to the family because they want to hold on to the body, according to Russian officials, for 14 days to quote unquote check the body for chemicals. And most folks are saying that if they poison him, that poison will be out of his system in the 14 days. So it would also give them plausible deniability that he was poisoned at all.
It will decompose. It won't be out of his system, but they won't be able to treat it.
Right.
So the issue is, dude, when somebody dies under normal circumstances, I don't care what.
Okay, Truth, unfortunately, I'm going to have to move it on. You got a really bad signal. Just wanted to let you know, Truth, you're always welcome back on the program, but you got a bad signal, so you're coming in and out. We'll move the program on, and I do appreciate those who are following. If you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, certainly invite you to follow the program. Brian on YouTube, what's the phone number to call in? Because I'm interested in speaking on it. The show is ran from TikTok. So the folks you're hearing, they're coming from TikTok. So for you folks on YouTube, you're getting the broadcast, but the adversaries you're hearing calling in, speaking to me on TikTok. The Handsome Liberal on TikTok. That's how you can find the actual origination of the show. But I do appreciate you folks on YouTube. Look at it in the comments. Trump is the first person in history to be fined millions for paying off his loan on time. Wake up. Well, in regards to President Trump and what he went through in New York, I've said this numerous times on the program. Talking shit does not help you, period. What is the example I give all the time? If you get a speeding ticket and the minute the cop walks up to your car and you've genuinely been speeding, you start talking shit, you're likely to walk away with more than just a speeding ticket. They're going to go around your car and pick it apart and try to give you as many fines as they can. And if you go to court doing that to a judge, it's not going to be a good experience. Now, did they go overboard on President Trump? My humble opinion, hell yeah, they did. But as I've stated many times, there is no one, let's take Trump out of the picture, there is no one that can do what Trump routinely does without meeting similar outcomes. Folks that are in high positions are not going to just let you treat them like shit. That's not going to happen. You're not going to go to court and text out the clerk's address, the judge's address, and get a fair hearing. It's not going to happen unless you hope to be the beneficiary of a two-tier justice system in your own favor. The fact that Trump never spent the night in jail for contempt is certainly better than what you or I would have ever went through. Going back to the box. I appreciate you folks that are tuned in. Someone asked about the trucker protest. We'll talk about that in a minute. Gerald MC. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. What is Trump seeing in Russia that apparently no one else is seeing? Good afternoon, Gerald.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Finally talk with you.
Good to have you. Good to have you on. So Trump sees Russia in a far more positive light than apparently most of the free world, including other leaders in our country. What do you think he's seeing that nobody else is?
I don't really think he's seeing anything in a positive light. I think he's really just looking at it. He's separating what the results of what the guy's doing with the actions that the guy's taking, in my opinion.
Elaborate on that.
So, for example, he'll say, well, Russia's, like the previous caller was saying, Russia's protecting itself. Okay, they're expanding their borders, but they're doing it by taking over another country. And they're pushing NATO back further away by taking over another country.
Yeah.
The U.S., our biggest defense are the two big oceans that separate us from everybody who want to come after us.
Right.
That's our biggest defense. Russia doesn't have that. So their biggest enemy is just one country over, which is NATO. So he's just pushing NATO further back. Now, is it right? No, not even close to right. Should you reward him for doing stuff like that? No, because the same thing they did in Germany. I mean, they just started pushing the borders back. But I think, and then he making comments like that is just dumb. I mean,
so why do you think Trump has yet to condemn Russia, or better yet, Vladimir Putin, for the death of Alexei Navalny?
Trump probably doesn't give a crap about that. So he's not going to say anything about it. He's so worried about him. Trump is really, if you really pay attention to him, he's really a narcissist. He's really, really focused on himself. And if you happen to help somebody or somebody in his constituency, as long as it helps himself first, he's all for it.
But wait a minute. Trump does speak out. He's condemned Vladimir Zelensky, the president of the Ukraine. He's condemned him numerous times. Why is he hushed on Russia?
I guess dictators want to stick together.
Let me make sure I get clarity. You don't really think Trump, if reelected, is going to operate as a dictator, do you?
I think he wants to be a dictator. He can't operate as a dictator. But I think that's, in his narcissistic mind, whatever I say, that's what it is, no matter if it's true or not.
What about his support? What about his supporters? MAGA overwhelmingly talks about being in favor of the Constitution, being the party of law and order. Do you think MAGA would be in favor of Trump if they felt he was trying to be a dictator?
Yep.
Why?
Trump for life.
Trump for life? Damn.
Trump for life. It might be a short one, but it'll be Trump for life. It might only be 3-4 more years, but it'll be Trump for life.
Well, at the end of the day, though, folks do suggest that under Trump we had a strong economy. There was very little global conflicts like what's happening now. Inflation was much lower. Would Trump for life really be a bad America? I mean, maybe it might be a good America.
Well, they said we had a great economy under Trump, but really, really pay attention. Does a president really, really affect the economy by himself? Any of them? I mean,
they sure take credit for it.
They'll take credit for it, but does any of them really, really affect the economy? I mean, he can't do anything without the support. And what and a lot of people have things against Trump, but my biggest thing is that I pay attention to, and this is me, right, wrong, and different, is how I look at it. When Trump was elected, he had the House, he had the Senate, he had the judiciary, and it was the executive branch. He had a raw flush. What did he do with those 2 years? None of the, we need to build a wall. Did he build? He could have built the whole daggum thing in 2 years. Because he had all the things he needed to do it.
So let me ask you this. I got to push back and ask you this. We've had Biden for nearly an entire term now. Do you see Biden as being an effective leader?
He is not an effective leader, but he's trying to lead with a split House, with a split Congress. I mean, you've got anything that happens in the Senate where it seems like the Senate is trying to work together. They're trying to come up with stuff, but it's dead in the House because we're just fighting, not for any cause. It's just what they call outraged politics, politics.
But when you mention the wall, let me just ask you, because folks are going ape shit about the border. Do you see the wall as something this country really needs to protect our border?
I don't know enough about it, but if we had a wall, or if we had other protections, like what the I think we need to do something.
Hold on. Do you think we have a border issue at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
we have a border issue.
Do you think the handling of the border has remained the same, worsened, or got better under President Biden compared to Trump?
I think it's remained the same. I don't think Biden has changed very much from what the Trump era was. I mean,
really?
I really don't. What did Trump really change?
Well, Trump made it so that, here, I'll give you a prime example. Trump instituted the Remain in Mexico. So all of these folks that are coming in this country right now claiming asylum, they would have had to do that from Mexico, and they would have had to remain in Mexico until their hearing came and we decided if they can stay or not. Right now, you got people laying all over the street waiting for their hearing to come up. They would not have been here under Trump. Did I lose you? I don't know if I lost my last caller, but we will move it on. Maybe he had a call. Looking in the comments, pandemic rules that expired. And there's another one. Listen, Trump would have expanded the pandemic rules. And to be honest with you, he would have had a legitimate reason to do so because we've had more outbreaks from COVID. There have been more for instance, more folks have been told you need to get a booster shot. You need to be vaccinated again. Here's another strain. So he would have simply used that to suggest, well, shit, if COVID is not done, then our border law should not be done. And he would have likely won that, certainly with a 6-3 majority in the Supreme Court. So listen, even though I may tend to lean left, it's hard to imagine folks suggesting that Trump is not more effective on the border than Biden. For the simple fact is, I believe Trump would have even been willing to break the law to secure the border. So it's hard for me personally to believe that the border would be the way it is right now if Trump is in office, because Trump would have been willing to do whatever it takes to prevent entry, even as I stated, even if it meant up to and including loss of life. He was that gung-ho about doing it. Looking in the box. Appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. For my viewers on YouTube, feel free. Drop a subscription if you will. Smash that like button. Going back to the box, love the name Amanda again. Welcome to the program, Amanda. Asking that quick, what is Trump seeing in Russia that most of the free world seems not to see?
I don't really understand your question. I don't think that he sees anything. I think that Russia, if you watch, I don't know if you or any of your listeners watch his rallies at all, but he does point out that Putin wouldn't have invaded
Those little shitloads are always the freaking worst.
Hang on a second. I got another program running in the background I need to turn off. That's what I'm hearing. Okay, Amanda, if you can hear me, give me a moment to go back to that damn app. All right, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, what I'm asking is this. Trump has routinely spoken favorably of Putin. I don't think I've ever heard him really criticize Putin, really criticize what's going on in Russia.
I don't understand why he would criticize Putin. If you're going to be a leader of a country, as in the United States, I don't think it's smart to just jump out there and call leaders of other countries idiots, murderers, etc. when America has... for history, as long as we've known America, has been the bully of the world. So why would, America's just as guilty as, murdering other countries and people in other countries as anybody else. So why would we jump out there and say, oh, he's a problem when America's been the problem?
Well, then let's go with that. You suggested that it's kind of counterproductive for the leader of our country, considering our past, to ridicule.
Absolutely.
Okay, so then why did Trump speak negatively of Vicente Fox of Mexico, Trudeau of Canada, Angela Merkel of Germany? He's actually done what you're talking about. You're saying it doesn't make...
If you're going to make deals with other countries, you have to call out what they're saying. So I think, he had a deal with Putin because he shut down Nord Stream 2. We had our own oil. If Russia's going to buy oil, they're going to buy it from us. If you're going to make deals with other countries, you've got to either call it out or call it as you see it.
Okay, but what I first asked you is, why is he speaking positively of Russia? Your response is it doesn't make sense to criticize other leaders. But then when I pointed to other leaders that he criticized, you seem to suddenly have a belief that, well, under certain circumstances...
For instance, with Merkel, she was making a big deal out of vehicles in the auto industry in the United States. He was trying to negotiate a deal with the automobiles and everything in her country. Why are we buying BMWs from her country all the time, and they're not willing to buy American products?
Amanda, he's putting nuclear weapons in space. You're talking about vehicles. I don't get it.
What do you not get?
What I don't get is you're all over the Germans for trade issues. You're mentioning vehicles. Hold on a second. Hold on.
I was giving you an example.
Okay, but why is he not speaking negatively of Russia when they're putting nuclear weapons in space, but he's willing to criticize countries because of economic concerns?
If you watch his rallies at all, I don't know if you do or not.
I've been to one.
At all. Okay, if you watch his rallies at all, he says that Putin would have never invaded Ukraine if he was still the president. Putin actually said he's glad that Biden is president because he's been able to do this. With Trump, he wasn't able to do that. So what does that tell you about the leader of our country right now?
Okay, but you do realize that Putin also invaded Georgia in 2008 and Crimea in 2014. Putin is not a good guy. I'm trying to figure out... Huh?
That wasn't under Trump, was it?
No, but you do realize Trump only gets a max of 8 years. Are you suggesting that Putin will only be good if Trump is in office?
I think you have to know how to deal with leaders of other countries. Absolutely.
Okay, so if the only thing that keeps Putin from attacking and murdering people is Trump, is Putin actually a good guy, as Trump suggests?
Trump's never said Putin's a good guy. I don't know where you're getting that. He said he's smart, and obviously he's smart. He's been running his own country for 20 plus years. Obviously he's not an idiot. Okay.
Well, neither was Hitler by that standard. I mean, Hitler ran an old nation too. Are you suggesting that Hitler was smart as well?
No, I don't think Hitler was smart. I think Hitler had a mental issue.
Okay. Well, how do you feel about the notion that they just had one of Putin's most well-known critics, looks like assassinated? They got a law where you can't even protest his death or leave flowers at his memorial. Why isn't Trump condemning that?
So, is Trump supposed to, before he even knows facts, before you even know facts about how someone actually died, are we supposed to jump out and assume how someone died?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
What difference does it make?
That's a good question. By the way, Arden, thank you for the subscription. Certainly appreciate that. Thank you, by the way, Arden. You're saying that should Trump speak before he know the facts? We know that it is a crime to protest a man's death or leave flowers at his funeral. Why hesitate to speak out against that?
Sure?
Yeah, the free world is bitching about it everywhere.
Wait, because our media told you that, or who told you that? A media that we know has been paid to push propaganda against other countries. You're trusting that.
Amanda, there have been foreign leaders all over the world speaking out against what it's not just coming from CNN or MSNBC. This is around the world.
Say that. We also know foreign leaders are not always truth tellers too, right?
Okay.
As you said, Putin.
So, wait, say that again. I didn't hear the question.
I said we also know that foreign leaders are not always truth tellers also, correct? I.e., you using Putin as an example.
Right. True.
Okay. So I'm not going to trust somebody else's country or leader to tell me what is happening in Russia. It's not my country. It's not my government. I don't know the facts behind how this man died, and I'm not going to assume. I don't think it's Trump's place to assume how someone died. When we know the facts, maybe he'll speak up about it.
Okay.
But that's the last issue on America's plate, is how Russia's supposed competition for Putin has died. That's the least of our issues here.
Well, Amanda, you do know we speak out about things that are not major issues. I mean, how many folks are complaining about LGBT members playing for the wrong sports team? That's not a major issue to 99.9% of Americans. Most schools, hang on, hold on. Most schools in America do not feature a biological male playing for a female team, yet it's all over right-wing media. So what do you mean when you say it ain't a major issue? We do that all the time.
Okay, what I'm saying is we are in the United States. What is the point of talking about another country's government when we need to focus on our own?
Once again,
who cares if Trump comes out and says, "Oh, this is the problem with Russia's country"? We don't care. We want to fix our own country.
Okay. Fair enough. You do understand, though, most of our NATO allies are on the opposite side of this. Do we not care how they feel either?
I don't think we should be in NATO. Oh. What does NATO help?
Well, it allows us to have bases on other countries that are closer to our adversaries, collect intel. It gives us a host of additional powers that no other country on earth has.
So it allows us to be in other people's business? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
And fight other people's wars that we don't need to be in?
That's the American way.
You're right, and I don't think it's right.
All right. And do you think America would remain a superpower, remain one of the world's wealthiest countries, if we got out of everybody's business and just focused on our own? You think we'd still remain as a superpower with all the money that we have?
I think we're losing money because right now we're bombing Yemen. Every bomb that Biden drops is $1 million. I think we're losing money on the daily by all of these stupid court cases going on that taxpayers are having to fund because people are so deranged with Trump syndrome. I think that we're losing money on the daily by all of these illegal immigrants coming into our country. I think that we're losing money on the daily by corruption.
Okay.
Pure corruption.
All right. I do got to move it on, Amanda. I don't think you quite answered the question on whether we would remain a superpower. You pointed out a lot of issues where we're losing money, but you didn't answer the question.
Within in our own country, we would remain a superpower. All these other countries would have to pay us what we are protecting.
How can you, if you want to get us out of if you want to get us out of everybody's business and stop fighting other people's wars, how can you offer protection? Isn't that what part of the duty of offering protection involves?
Okay, sir, are they offering us protection right now, or are they sending us?
I'm just responding to what you said, Amanda. That's all I'm doing.
Okay, but answer your own question here. Are they protecting us, or are they sending us their problem? Do you see what I'm saying?
I think they're sending us their problems, and we're benefiting substantially from it.
Their problem, so therefore we're not getting paid for anything, right?
Okay. No, that's not right. There's a reason why fuel costs less in America than most other places in the free world. We're benefiting from that involvement.
We're getting oil from Venezuela, which is the trashiest oil there is in the world. You know, there's only one place in the United States that actually can fix that oil to where you can actually put it in cars, and that's in Houston, Texas. Do you know how bad that is for the air? Do you know how bad that
Wait. You lean right. You lean right, and you're suddenly concerned with the air and the environment. I'll give you the last word. I do got to move it on. Go.
My last word is the last place that we need to worry about is Russia, and we need to worry about our own country. That's my point.
All right, Amanda. Spirited debate. You're always welcome back. Appreciate you coming through. And understand, folks, that is indeed how the program is ran. We do not block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. You don't have to agree with the host or anyone on the program, and we don't limit your time simply because you do, which will lead to the obvious statement. If you enjoy this type of dialogue, feel free to follow the program. For my YouTubers, feel free to smash that like button, a subscription if you will. Doesn't cost you anything, helps out the algorithm. Can you hang up on them for stupidity? FMG on TikTok. We don't hang up on guests. We don't speak down to guests. We allow folks to speak. Listen, folks, none of us have the right answer. That's how this forum works. We all share our opinion. So we don't hang up on folks for what you say stupidity. Folks hear me speak oftentimes and says, refer to me as stupid. It happens. Her commentary was just wrong, though. She was stupid. That's on YouTube. Why do you guys keep calling my guests? Be kind to the guests. Both platforms. Be kind to my guests. We have to protect democracies. This is our values and duties. I agree, NATO members should pay more, but still we are the superpower. We have to defend their security. They should pay more, but they should pay more. I think that's kind of what most of Washington believes. But today's program is because Trump is not Washington. Trump does not have the mindset of Washington. Trump is on the opposing view of this. I'll go back to the box, but that's the question we're asking. Why is President Trump's view of Russia so differently than most other folks? Tap the screen, going straight to the box. Doug, good afternoon, Doug. Welcome to the program. Trump on Russia. Maybe he's seeing something everybody else doesn't see. Maybe he has it right. What say you, Doug? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Regarding the question about how Trump feels about Putin and Russia, I have no idea.
Wait. You see, hang on. I'll let you continue speaking, but you see Tucker Carlson going over to Russia, having an interview that's fairly pro-Putin. You see Trump has really never What do you mean you don't know how Trump feels about Russia? I think he's spoken out quite critically of the Ukraine. You don't know Trump's opinion on Russia?
Yes, I'll rephrase it. Trump, I think, agrees with Putin in that Putin is doing what Putin thinks is best for Russia.
Okay.
Just simply. So I'm oversimplistic on that, but it's really, right? Putin does what he thinks is best for Russia, period.
Okay.
It's not for a judge. We can disagree, fine. But That's a Russia issue. Stay the hell out of it. My area of expertise is Latin America. I'd like to address that. Regarding the border, Trump cut off the funds to Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala because that basically is the fertile crescent of where the trafficking of children is coming from.
Okay.
Latin Kings, MS-13, FALN, all of them basically nest there. They were not helping us. They were holding up signs. This way to the United States, the cartels unvetted, unchallenged, through Mexico into the border. He cut their funds off. All of a sudden, we're getting phone calls from those 4 companies saying, hey, we think we've got some cartel nests here trafficking children. Come and get us. We hired 1,000 contractors who went into these countries and interrogated and investigated before they even left those countries.
But how is that? Because a lot of folks that support MAGA or that support Trump, rather, my beloved MAGA will say we need to get out of other people's affairs, such as my last caller. What you're talking about is Trump doing exactly the opposite. He's totally involved in the countries you just mentioned.
He cut their funds off to stop or reduce the child trafficking, which directly...
You mentioned contractors. That's boots on the ground.
You heard what I said. He did that so we can stay or... God bless you.
Thank you.
To reduce and or stop child trafficking through Mexico into the United States, which is a direct effect on this country.
But here's what I don't get. When Trump gets involved in international issues such as the child trafficking things you're mentioning, or the stop of cartels sending fentanyl or MS-13 to this country, you can clearly see why we need to get involved in international affairs. But when Biden or other Republicans, by the way, think we need to stop Putin from trying to expand in Eastern Europe, suddenly you don't agree. I mean, are you okay?
No, sir, I can't comment on it because I don't know the dynamic of Russia. And what they're doing. I can speak to Latin America, and that's why I'm trying to address that.
Okay.
So I'm not talking about speculate about Russia or NATO or anything else, because I don't follow that as closely and have experience in Latin America. So that's why I'm talking about it.
Okay. Well, let's go with Latin America. Why is there not more criticism coming from the Trump campaign of American co-conspirators? Let's tackle everything you just named. For instance, you mentioned child traffickers south of the border. Who is their biggest customer? We talked about fentanyl and drugs coming from south of the border. Who is the biggest customer that wants these drugs? Why do you not hear the Trump administration going after employers that hire them, Americans that are purchasing fentanyl, or Americans that are utilizing the children that are being trafficked?
The fentanyl is not my expertise. Trafficking is. So we want to protect children from anywhere. So that's the general premise. How do you do that? One of the ways was to cut the funds, okay? We reduced child trafficking into the United States by over 88% during that administration. In the last 3.5 years, it's back because we gave them back their money, those countries. They're not calling us anymore. So the 88% that was reduced is now that 88% and another 77+%. Where are the children going? I don't even want to speculate.
Well, let me just say, I do got to move it on, but let me just tell you this. I think Trump's solution, if it went the way you're saying, where he cut funding to these countries to get them to address a problem, I think that makes it cyclical. Make no mistake about it, the folks coming to this country seeking a better life are doing it because their countries are broke. One of the reasons their countries are broke may be us not giving funding and imposing sanctions on them all the time. So you're kind of making an ongoing problem continue. You're pissed off with certain entities in their countries, like the cartel or keep saying MSNBC, but MS-13.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you're pissed off with these groups of people in their country, and you respond by punishing the entire country so that the inhabitants.
You're putting words in my mouth.
I'm not putting. This is the way I interpret it.
I'm not pissed off. I'm telling you facts. The reason we cut off the funding in those 4 countries is to get them to call us, specifically targeting the cartels trafficking children, not fentanyl.
But that's what I'm saying. If we do what you're suggesting that they're doing, does that not make that country a poorer nation?
They need to help us.
That ain't what I'm asking you. They need
to earn the money that we're giving them for free.
That ain't what I'm asking you, though. I'm asking you, does it make them a poorer nation? Doug?
Sure. Yes, from that economic standpoint, yes.
Okay.
But lessons not learned in blood are soon forgotten. You've got to make them feel the pain of the funding cut off to get them to help us, specifically by stopping the child trafficking. Now, let me go over to something else somebody else said.
All right, real quick, go ahead. I'm going to have to move it on, but go ahead.
I mean, I can stop, but I want to address where somebody said the United States doesn't take care of other countries' leaders. Well, let me tell you something. In 1972 and 3, Presidente Salvador Allende was the president of Chile. You had U.S. companies in Chile, Freeport McMoran, ITT, Chiquita Banana, Dole. Those countries were raping the countryside of Chile. The copper, the minerals, the fruits. Allende saw that the United States, those companies were taking advantage and putting Chile in poor economic condition. Allende nationalized those companies by saying, look, Chile first.
All right. Okay, I get your point. You're going down the America first. I do got to move it on, though, Doug. I appreciate you coming on. You're always welcome back.
Really good point. I know you have constraints. Real fast.
Real quick.
They didn't like what Allende did and went to CIA and special forces and assassinated him.
Damn.
So don't tell me that the United States doesn't go in other countries.
I would never say that. Appreciate you coming through. Big Rooster on YouTube. Thank you for the super chat. Not necessarily a fan of my last caller, said this guy is on another planet. Listen, all my callers tend to be very passionate in what they believe in, and I don't, talk down to anyone for having a difference of opinion. But the point I was trying to make, and I'll continue moving the program on, is that when we impose sanctions on another country, there's going to be a host of citizens of that country that have nothing to do with why we are upset with them that are going to suffer. And because in this case, they can walk to America, many of them are going to come here. We have imposed sanctions on a host of countries south of the border, like my last caller was saying. Now, in regards to, we don't like that they're child trafficking or things like, look, I don't want to come across as if America's trying to be the moral good in this country. Our biggest trading partner on the planet, China, their history towards children is fucking awful. So the idea that we care about a nation when they're mistreating children is hypocrisy at its finest. We've been trading with China on a super large scale for decades. They have children going to work every damn day, barely even having a break or lunch. We don't give a damn about children being abused. Why try to pretend like we do when it happens to be south of the border? Because there's no money to be made south of the border. The concern does not appear to be genuine, in my humble opinion. Tap the screen, get your boy up to 40,000, over 1,000 of you in here. Appreciate it. Tap the screen, let your thumbs not be lazy. For you folks on YouTube, certainly smash that like button if you will. Mexico is our largest trading partner, FYI. Okay, we can go with that, but there's no denying that China is in the conversation. If you care about children, we shouldn't be doing any business at all with China. So the fact that we do, to the level that we do, leaves the children issue off the table. It makes no sense. Going to the box. We'll continue the program on with Sean Davis. Good afternoon, Sean. We are talking about Russia, and if Trump's view on Russia is actually correct, considering it's the opposing view of everybody else. Good afternoon, Sean.
How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing good.
First of all, I want to say thank you for bringing me up. This right here is an honor to me, man.
Oh, it's an honor to me as well. I'm glad to have you on. So what about, so is Trump getting it right? Is Trump right?
I don't understand how now Russia is being looked at as the good people. And all that came just within the last few years. You know, there was never an issue about us getting out of NATO. Trump started that. Trump planted that seed into MAGA's mind. So now it's like they're in favor of Trump and Putin. I don't understand how they can't see that as a problem.
Well, the belief is that Russia is not looking to go back on a world conquest or world domination. They just want to protect its borders, and having a NATO member or even a NATO-friendly state like the Ukraine across the street from them.
On the border, right?
Yeah.
And I understand that. But what does Putin want to do? What's his ultimate goal?
Well, that's the issue, is that folks who dislike Putin believes he's trying to reestablish the Soviet Union. Trump doesn't see that.
Why doesn't he see that?
That's a good question. That's what we're trying to get to the bottom of.
What's preventing him from seeing that Putin wants to do what it was? There was a reason why it was broken up then. Why? So he wants it back. Is that not correct?
Trump wants to sit this one out, yes.
Okay. All right. That's my issue. So now Russia is being looked at good. Tucker Carlson goes over and praises Putin. Praises.
How do you feel about what Tucker Carlson did? Was he maybe just trying to give Putin a fair shake to get his story out?
I don't think so. No, I think Tucker is appealing to the MAGA base. He went over there. He's in their grocery stores talking about, oh, look at this. Look at this. They're having this problem. They're this. And I'm like, dude, you over there in Russia.
Yeah. So you're right about Tucker going to Russia, but so in your opinion, why do you think MAGA as a whole is fairly favorable to Russia? And everyone else, Democrats, independents, traditional Republicans, think Russia is the enemy. Remember George W. Bush? I stared into his eyes and saw his soul. The only folks in this country that seem to have a lighter view of Putin in Russia are MAGA. Why are they on the other side?
Well, because their God told them to feel that way.
That's all it takes.
That's it. That's all it took.
So what you're saying...
They have no other proof than what he tells them. They're going off nothing else.
So what you're saying is that as long as Trump says it, therefore it shall be.
Therefore it shall be. Is that not what we've been seeing over the since he came down that escalator?
You're basically suggesting that MAGA are sheep.
What do you suggest they are?
I suggest that MAGA has their own view of how this country should be ran, and they think their leader is doing it more favorably.
Okay, well.
But what say you? What say you? You got my take. Do you see them as sheep?
I say they're sheep. I say it's a cult.
A cult?
Because, I honestly believe it's a cult. They are really doing the most. They don't even go to the extent of trying to research what he says.
Damn.
It's like they don't want to know. They literally don't want to know the truth.
Damn. So.
Because it's easy. Google and all these sites that you can do can rid you of so much ignorance. But what they would do is just go to a rally. When he spit it out, we going home, and that's going to be our talking points. But when you come up against somebody who has research, know the numbers, what do? They fold.
Well, I give you an alternative answer to that. You said when you go up against somebody who did the research and has the numbers, generally what happens is they remove the credibility of where you got your information from. Google ain't reliable. You can't trust Bing. That's what usually happens. So even if you do your homework and come back with something else, the source you got it from lacks credibility.
Right, and the one source that they use lacks all the credibility. And what's that? Trump.
I already know what you're about to say.
It's Trump. So that's their only source. Them, Sean Hannity, Newsmax, like the situation with the FBI informant. I guarantee to this day, they don't know that was a lie. I guarantee to this day, they don't know that the FBI is charging that credible human source informant.
Yeah. And I will say this in regards to what you said, that they don't realize that their FBI informant has turned out to be a liar. This is where it really makes a big deal in who and where you get your media from. And I often suggest you should watch media on both sides of the aisle, because
that's what I do.
Yeah, because if you only watch left-wing media, you're going to get stories that are favorable to left-wingers and stories that are critical of right, and vice versa. If you're watching both sides, there would be more stories covering what you're talking about. On the right wing, on the right side of the aisle, they're not covering the fact that guy has been charged with lying to the feds to make Biden look bad. They're not really covering it.
Won't even mention it. And that was breaking news.
Yeah.
That was facts.
Yeah.
That was the truth. And they showed Sean Hannity having 85 something mentions and 26 monologues about this informant that we have. To this, after that came out, hadn't said a word. Hadn't retracted anything. Hadn't said we apologize. We hadn't said, MAGA, listen, we told y'all wrong. It's not going to happen.
Well, let me ask you this before I let you go. This is a response to a super chat. Sandy, by the way, thank you. Because we're talking about MAGA does not believe we should continue intervening in Ukraine. Leave them to their own devices. Sandy says Russians deserve a true democracy, and speaking truth to Putin's corruption is important. I support Ukraine, but we need a plan and not a blank check. Do you think we should continue giving the Ukrainians assistance as much as they need, or limit it, or put some type of stipulations on it? What do you think? Because MAGA don't want us doing it at all. If you ask the average Trump supporter.
And that's the thing. MAGA doesn't understand why we're helping Ukraine. They think we're just doing it because we want to stop Putin. No. When we had Ukraine to get rid of their nuclear weapons, what did we tell them?
We would help them.
Thank you. So what are we doing?
Yeah. And by the way, the UK and Russia were in on that request to the Ukraine that they get rid of their Soviet era nukes. So the Russians went back on their word.
Went back on their word. They said that they wouldn't bother them. But what did they do?
Yeah, fair enough.
But we're talking about the same guy who praises Putin, and he wants to be the same thing. The lady earlier said that Putin is doing what he thinks is right for his country. In his mind, he thinks he's doing what's right for his country. Donald Trump, in his mind, thought stealing the election back after it was done was right for the country in his mind. Both minds are wrong.
Well, until it goes through a court of law, he hasn't been convicted of trying to steal the election. So we got to give him the benefit of the doubt. Innocent until.
This is the one question I want to ask.
is MAGA really recognizing the walls falling down around him? Because they're falling.
They don't believe that's happening. The polls say the opposite of what you're saying. The polls are predicting Trump to be very competitive in an election coming up. Biden is the one that it looks like the walls.
Did the polls predict that he was going to have to spend $355 million on a case that he lost?
You know, I
don't tell you all of that.
I would assume that if you did a poll, I don't think any poll would suggest that Trump's going to win any of his court cases. The only victory is in a delay. None of these cases, even if Fani Willis is tossed out, anybody they put in their place is probably going to win that case against Trump. The goal isn't to win. The goal is to delay. I got to move it on, though, Sean.
Okay, man. But listen, like I said, I listen to you every day. I hated that you went on vacation, but I know you got to do what you got to do.
Thank you.
Next time, let us know when you're leaving, man. Cause looking all over TikTok trying to find you is hard to do.
Wow, that makes me feel good. I did do one show. I was on Roll Caribbean.
I was on that one.
All right. I was in
one day, then I went back the next day. I'm like, where is he? I know the day you had to go from one side of the boat to the other, but. Hey, I understand, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
You making my day, man. I appreciate you coming through.
Appreciate you, man.
Absolute. Going back to the box, better yet to the comment section. Trump should have taken the salary. Well, if he wins again, I bet he'll take the next one. Certainly with all of this money coming at him. The walls are coming down. MAGA is a code. Hate and racism being pushed, says Michael Thomas. Yikes. You really think MAGA consists of that much racism, hate? The walls are coming down? I listen to the Republican Party. I see Tim Scott and all those folks falling over Trump. If he's so racist, I do have to ask the question, why is his support among African Americans better than Romney, McCain, Reagan, Bush, any other Republicans in the past? It's a legitimate question to ask. They clubbing in Ukraine right now, dance. I don't think that's the kind of clubbing they're doing. Not saying NATO expansion was wrong. I can understand Russia's feelings on that. And I can too, Sandy. I certainly can too. And thank you for the super chat. Trump is praying he gets elected, and as a dictator, he can cancel all the judgments against him. I'll go back to the box, but real quick, just to state, Trump certainly is trying to delay his cases. I don't think anybody on the right or left would deny that. The dictatorship is something we can certainly debate and talk about, but he doesn't have to be dictator to stop these cases. Once he wins, he can immediately get rid of the likes of Merrick Garland. Jack Smith goes away with him and installs some Trump loyalists. You talk about weaponizing the DOJ. You can do the same shit on the opposite to make sure everybody's friendly to you. So that absolutely will happen. So all of the federal cases against Trump, you'll suddenly likely hear them get out and say that we've reevaluated these cases. On second thought, he should have never been charged, and we hereby throw all of that stuff out. Now, the state cases is a little bit different, but make no mistake about it, as president, most of this shit's going to go away. And I don't believe you can really continue to proceed with state charges while someone is serving in the nation's highest office. So it would also delay all of that stuff. And once he's no longer president, my opinion, that stuff would go away. I'm not going to deny that some of the stuff against Trump is politically biased. If Trump wasn't running for president, the goal of taking him down would not be as hard as it is right now. I'm not going to say he's innocent, but folks certainly want him more because he's running for president. Remember all the suggestions that Hillary Clinton should be locked up? She's not running for president anymore. How often do you hear it? The goal to take Hillary Clinton down was political. That's how it works. Going to the box. Appreciate you folks that are tuned in. Certainly smash that like button on YouTube. Feel free to tap the screen on TikTok. Got over 1,000 of you in here. Get your boy likes up to about 65,000. You can make that happen if you tap the screen. Going back to the box, we'll go to Herniak Maggie.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I can actually comment on the Russian aspect of this. I am Russian. I was born in Russia, but raised in the United States.
Wow, very good. So, well, so have you ever? You said you were born in Russia. How long were you there before you left?
I was 4, almost 5.
Okay. Have you went back any?
Before the situation's been going on, yes.
When was the last time you were there?
Right before the situation with Ukraine.
Oh, so you've been there very recent, 3-4 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Before everything started, because my husband is Ukrainian. Even though he's American military, he is half Ukrainian and half Italian.
Is he?
And he has family.
Is he involved in the conflict at all? Like in Israel, when they got attacked, a lot of Israelis went back. Is he involved in that?
No, not anymore. He got discharged before all this started happening, but he is a veteran.
Okay.
So.
Wow.
When we were visiting, we got a kind of an advisory that around when we were in Ukraine. I'm sorry, I had hiccups. When I was in Ukraine with my husband visiting family, they gave us an alert.
Is this when they were starting, where Russia was starting to amass troops at the border and they were denying they were going to attack, but the Biden administration was telling the Ukrainians something's about to happen. We see them sending medics and things like that. Was this around that time?
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a tough question. This is how I hear it, so I'm going to put it to you. You can answer it any way you want. But this is what we're hearing, particularly from my beloved MAGA side of the aisle. Why the hell do you have biolabs and neo-Nazis in your country? You guys are corrupt. That's what I'm hearing.
Weirdly enough, I'm Russian, but I do not agree with them. I am biracial. I take more over my father's side. I am, you know what Inuit tribes are. I'm an Inuk.
Okay. So where do you think that came from? Where do you think that's coming from?
They, how do I explain it? I can do it in Russian, like there's no tomorrow.
And we won't understand a damn thing you say. So, go ahead.
Deep down, it is a very controlling and racist country.
Which one? Russia or NATO? Or Ukraine, rather?
Russia.
Russia. Wow. Now, Russians often suggest that the Ukraine is formerly part of Russia and they're just putting their country back together.
Then why didn't they not do it? They're trying to do that with Alaska too. Then they're going to have issues with America as well.
That is true.
Because America bought Alaska from Russia.
Right.
And now they're like, if they keep on, the thing is it used to be a territory. Yes, Russia used to own it. Mm-hmm. But once you break off, once the Soviet Union was dissolved, that territory is bye-bye.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be like the Mexicans. Yeah, that would be like the Mexicans trying to reclaim Phoenix or San Antonio. I get your point. So what is your opinion of Putin?
I believe he's a monster. The only thing he's not a monster in, I can give him credit on one thing and one thing only in life, is that how he treats the environment and nature, like animals.
Oh.
Weirdly enough, that's his soft spot. If people were smart enough, Putin's soft spot is animals.
So he kind of like is a drug dealer that's real friendly to his pit bulls. So if you see him that way, why do you think there's so many folks that seem to see the opposite, where they think that it is your country that is the problem, certainly in the United States? So let me phrase it this way. Obviously, you see the whole title of the program in regards to Trump's view on Russia. How do you view Trump considering the way he views Russia?
I think he's a moron because he's not really looking.
What do you think he's missing?
It's all about it's theater. Everybody, all these high-end Putin does it too. He needs to stop lying. They all put on a show when they're with big people.
Okay.
And they're always going to do that. And they're going to hide things. No matter how much you try to dig, they're going to do it. And he does it. He puts on a show. He only shows what he wants Trump to see.
So you think that Putin is duping Trump?
Yep.
But the rest of our nation, in terms of Democrats, independents, and traditional Republicans don't favor Putin. So clearly they're seeing him different. I mean, is Trump just not, is he not looking at him through
He wants to imitate Putin. It's just a common pattern. When he comes up to dictators or very people that have like communist countries, he idolizes them. He's like, I would like that power. Why can't people do that for me?
I do believe there are reports that he said something similar to that. So is it safe to say you're not likely to vote for Trump, or you might? I mean, what about the economy?
Yeah.
You don't favor Trump's economy or any of that stuff? You've been here long enough.
No, I'm not saying that he doesn't have good aspects of him. That's the reason why I haven't really bashed him on here. I do see that each side has some good points.
Mm-hmm.
I'm that happy medium area. I see both sides, but I also see where Putin is taking advantage, and he knows he's taking advantage of Trump.
But Putin states that he would actually be happier if Biden stays in power.
Yeah, because then with that, because he won't have a lackey, and then he'll have a reason to attack.
Oh, so you're saying you do believe Putin would rather Biden get reelected over Trump? Because if Trump gets reelected, our assistance to the Ukraine goes away, and it seems like Putin would be more successful.
What I'm trying to say is if there will be no Russia coming after United States, if Trump is there, they're going to play friendlies.
Yeah.
They're going to do it. They're going to play friendlies, and then they're going to scratch each other's back. And that's exactly what's going to happen.
So how do you respond to folks that might suggest, even though folks do not favor Trump reaching out to the likes of Vladimir Putin or Kim Jong-un, how would you respond to folks who say, well, maybe it's time to continue to try something different, and maybe trying to make friends with our enemies may make the world a quieter place?
Since I have visited Russia too, it's not pretty. I don't know why you want to be friends with them, the government-wise. It's not. I was SA'd while I was there.
Damn.
And it was by government, the militia, the military, and they did not get any charges on them because the government rules everything. They can take what they want.
Wow. I'm really sorry to hear that. I mean,
I don't know why you would want to be friends, because it's people. I do understand there is issues here in the United States. Everywhere in the world has good and bad. Everywhere, because I've been around the world, thanks to my husband, and I'm a translator. Okay. So I've been around the world.
How many languages do you speak?
7.
Shit. Wow, you're an interesting guest. Okay, so now in this country, if it does come down to a Biden versus Trump rematch, I do have to ask, where would your vote go?
That would be it's a very big issue, since I do know I do have a third option. But if I didn't have that third option,
who is that third option? Who is that third option?
Kennedy. I would have to go with the independent.
Who did you vote for in 2020? What did you vote for in 2020?
2020, Biden.
Who did you vote for in 2016? Trump versus Clinton?
Trump.
Wow, you do vary. Okay, all right. That's interesting. By the way, your vote to Kennedy is likely to be a losing vote. You understand Kennedy's not going to go anywhere.
But I'm just like, it's one of those things that, to me, this might be offensive to some, but this is how I feel.
You're entitled to do that. You're entitled to that.
I think, this election, we have to pick the best wackadoodle out of them all.
And so you see out of those three, Trump, Biden, and Kennedy, Kennedy's the best choice.
Yeah, the best crazy one out of them all.
All right, I got to move it on. Wow, that's different, but I appreciate you've certainly been an interesting caller. Anytime come back, sure, I could talk to you for an hour because you're going to be knowledgeable on a host of issues, but I do appreciate you coming on. How's that name pronounced, by the way?
It's Herniak.
Herniak. Okay, I would have never got that. Thank you. Come on back through anytime.
I sure will. Thank you for having me.
Absolute. Looking in the comments, that's an ignorant view Know your facts, brother, says Brian Reddick. Feel free to elaborate on what I was ignorant about. We can certainly discuss that if you make sense. I'm always willing to concede the point. That's how the program is ran, folks. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon tonight. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. So if you do favor civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host trying to limit, censor, or block you for your opinion, you are certainly in the right place. Feel free to follow the program for my YouTube viewers. Smash that like button, drop a subscription if you will. Looking in the comments, before we move the program on and go back to the box, people forget Trump says he cut taxes. Yeah, for the rich only. Trump says gas prices were lower. Well, that was during the pandemic when nobody was driving, so supply and demand reduces or increases prices. Trump served, 2017 is when he got inaugurated. 2021, January, is when he left office. Now, if you look, the pandemic kicked off November, December of 2019. So Trump was in office for 2.5 years before the pandemic. Gas prices are pretty low under Trump. I don't think you're getting that one totally. The gas was cheap under Trump before the pandemic kicked in. Now, obviously, during the pandemic, nobody fucking drove, so it went down even further. But gas prices were pretty cheap from 2017 to 2019. Now, someone could say, well, he wrote Obama's coattails. Maybe, maybe not, but it was happening under his presidency. Good guest, says Big Spoon 16. Moving the program on, Trump enjoyed the Obama's economy. That's exactly what I was saying. Going to the box. Appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. Moving it on with Zola. Good afternoon, Zola. Welcome to the program. Trump seems to have a different view of Russia than virtually all of America outside of MAGA. Zola, what say you?
So how you doing?
I'm doing good.
I'm from South New Jersey. Excuse me, I'm a little sick under the weather, so my voice is a little messed up. But I grew up right near Atlantic City, so my whole childhood, I'm 46 years old. I heard about Trump and what a scam artist he is and how he scammed every worker in this area when he built these casinos.
Wow.
And then it just follows him wherever he goes. I don't understand why people trust him. He lies to you and you trust him. You just trust what he says. And I want to ask you one question.
Sure.
You have a hat behind you that says, "Make America Great Again." You know, I have a lot of black friends. I live around a lot of black people in my community. When was it great for black people in this country?
Flat out, never, never. It's gotten better, but in regards to the question you asked, just a simple answer, never. Continue.
So then why do you promote that? Why are you promoting Make America Great Again if it's never been great for a black person?
It's a good question. I'll answer that simple, and folks ask that all the time. Both questions you asked, I get asked all the time. When was America great for blacks? Why the hell do you have a MAGA hat up? The reason I have the hat up is I strongly believe without a shadow of a doubt that conservatives, Republicans, and particularly MAGA do not get a fair shake in the mainstream media. The minute they open their mouths, they're often blocked, banned, or censored. We do not do that here. The whole purpose of this program is to show if you can communicate from both sides of the aisle in a civilized fashion, it can be done. They're just not doing the shit in Washington. The purpose of the hat is to show MAGA when they're on the program, their opinions will always be listened to. I believe everyone is entitled to free speech. So the hat shows that this is a MAGA-friendly program despite its name. Hopefully that answers the question.
That does, because that's concerning when you know what I mean? Like, I look at when I see something like that, we don't see it a lot where I live in Jersey. We don't see those red hats.
No, you're not. It's not safe. It's not safe to have them out.
Like I'm serious. You'll get smacked around here. You wear some shit like that.
But how do you feel about that? That if someone in Jersey decides to express their belief that Trump is a better leader, they face violence. Are liberals in your neighborhood violent? That sounds like extreme cancel culture.
I'm exaggerating. Are you going to wear the hat and get smacked? Definitely. Are you going to wear the hat and start calling people the N-word? Yeah, you're going to get smacked. Like, you're going to get checked around here. People aren't going to put up with that stuff. Whether you're white, you're black, you're Puerto Rican, you're going to get checked where I live. I feel like other places, and you watch videos, people don't check people, and they're overtly racist in our country. And I feel like Trump has brought people out of the woodworks just because of his rhetoric.
Do you see Trump as racist?
100%.
Give me some. Elaborate. Why do you believe it? Elaborate.
Okay, I'm gonna bring it back to Atlantic City when Trump would go into the casinos. Now remember, everybody that works in the casinos lives around where we live. So when Trump would go to the casino floor, every black dealer, every black waitress, every Hispanic or whatever was pulled off of the floor, and white people were put in their place. If you don't believe me, ask anyone that works in Atlantic City.
Wow. So when Trump was president, they made sure only white people.
When Trump owned this is before he was president. When he owned the casinos, if he would walk into the Trump Taj Mahal, if he was gonna walk through the gaming floor, every black dealer was pulled off of the floor, and a white person was put in their place.
Damn. Wow.
That's no bullshit. That's no bullshit. You can ask anybody that's worked in Atlantic City for Donald Trump. Everyone around here knows that. Every plumber, electrician, everybody that's in the trades knows that Donald Trump doesn't pay his bills, and he sinks mom and pop companies because he drowns them in legal fees.
So if what you're saying has validity to it, why do you believe there's so many, let's say African Americans, for instance? Trump's support from the African American community, although it'll never be 50%, it's higher than it was for every Republican president or Republican presidential nominee in our lifetime. The Romneys, the McCains, the Reagans, the Bushes. Why is that?
I'm going to tell you one thing. I can see, Trump didn't do everything horrible. The one thing he did do well was the jail reform, where he helped some people get out of jail, and he helped with that stuff. In the black community, they haven't had the fair shake. I'm preaching to the choir. So in that respect, people can look at him and say, you know what, he has stepped out and done some things. But me personally, he's just pandering. That's what I think.
Well, I'm going to tell you this right off the bat, because folks say the same thing about Democrats. You guys only vote for them because they give you free shit or they're pandering. I will tell you this, and I see on YouTube, Dasher Live with the huge super chat. Thank you. Certainly someone that absolutely says 100% they agree with you totally. If I'm a voter that is seeking a certain issue to be addressed, and to be honest with you, I don't give a damn if you're pandering or not, as long as you meet my issue. We know Abraham Lincoln was pandering to black people when he freed the slaves. There was an actual quote of him saying
at the beginning of that war, he wasn't about freeing the slaves.
Right. So if you give me what I want, I don't care if it's pandering or not. It's better than the guy who ain't giving it to me at all.
I agree.
So
listen. I hear you. Listen. There's problems on both sides, but I'll tell you this: when you let's just look at our Congress right now. When you look at the Congress and you look at the Democratic Party, it looks the way America looks. Well, at least it looks like the way I live.
Paul Ryan said that.
It looks like a bunch of old white men, and I'm a white man, so it looks like a bunch of old white men, and they have the token black man or the token white black woman or Hispanic woman in there, and it's not real. It's not legit. They're racist. I'm sorry.
See, wait a minute. Now you expand it. So you do believe racism is permeated throughout the Republican Party?
100%. 100%.
Wow.
Listen, when I was 18, I didn't understand the difference between what a Republican and a Democrat was. I just knew that the people around me, there was a lot of Republicans. I signed up as a Republican, and then until I started really understanding politics and what makes this country move, I changed my party. And I went from, Republican to an independent, and now I'm a registered Democrat. And I never would have thought that when I was younger.
Well, let me ask you that. And now you said because you're currently a registered Democrat. Ali on YouTube says the Democratic Party looks like communism every day, dude. And they completely race bait 100%. Left my ass off. Dude on the phone is a clown. Now, he's suggesting that your party, I lean left as well, by the way, but he's suggesting that it is the Liberal Party that does everything you mentioned.
I disagree 100%. Listen, there's nutcases in both parties.
True.
There's people that are extreme in both parties. There's people that go nuts when they start yelling, "Oh, I'm he, they," and all that stuff, and I'm a chipmunk one day, and I'm a bunny the next. Like, you got people like that are so cute and liberal that are ruining it for the rest of us. But listen, I'm a simple-minded person. I want everybody to have a fair shake in life. Not everybody should get a tax break just because they're multi-millionaires. Everybody should have a chance at this country. And I feel like, some things need to be fixed. Our border, it does need to be addressed. It was just on the table, and you know what? They punted it. So they couldn't get the job done. The Republicans punted it right there. They had an opportunity to finally get something done, but they listened to the orange Jesus, and they couldn't get it done.
Wow. What a mouthful. Zola, I do got to move it on, but you are also painting a picture like one of my previous callers that Trumpers are just sheep. You're kind of painting that same picture. I appreciate you coming on, Zola. It's our first time talking.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to follow you right now. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate that. Real quick, on the YouTube side of the hour, wanted to point out and certainly give a secondary thanks to Dasher Life Hawaii. By the way, if you're doing DoorDash in Hawaii, you should be making some big tips, I assume. But he says, no, I'm agreeing with you. Trump is not the way they paint him out to be. Listen, Trump is a magnet for opposition. I'm not saying that there is, listen, a lot of callers are like my last one where they just see Trump as the worst thing that's ever happened to human life in general. There are legitimate reasons, in my opinion, to vote for Trump. And there are legitimate reasons to run the hell away. It depends on where your issues are. So it could go either way depending on your principles and what you stand on. However, regardless of what your principles are, the tweets, the insults, and the other name calling that Trump gets involved in could actually make folks who favor him because he stands for the same things they do still vote against him because of all of the chaos and fights he gets involved in. I would take the words of both Nikki Haley, Sununu of New Hampshire, Governor Sununu, and certainly Chris Christie, all detractors of Trump. They've all said the same thing. They think Trump's policies were good for the country as well, but they don't like the rhetoric. And there are literally millions of Americans like that. When you ask in regards to the 2020 election, how the hell did Biden get 80 million votes? How could this man operating from his basement get more votes than Obama? It's that, folks. It is the never Trumpers. Folks don't bring that up. In reality, no, Biden didn't get 80 million votes. What happened is there were 3 slots on the last national election. You could vote for Trump, you could vote for Biden. There was an imaginary box that also existed on the last ballot. That box would have said, I don't like Biden much, but I will damn sure never support Trump. That box didn't exist in reality, but if it had, it would have got tens of millions of votes. I'm not a Biden supporter, but I damn sure would never support Trump. That box would have received tens of millions of votes. That box, because it didn't exist, went to Biden by default. So when you ask, well, how did Biden get 80 million votes? Speak to your local never Trumper, because all of their votes are going to Biden too. Look in the box. That box would be president, says Vision. Damn, that is correct. I do believe that. I do believe the never Trumper box would beat out Biden, would beat out Trump, which, as Nikki Haley continues to suggest, and ain't no love for Nikki Haley, but she does say that whichever party gets rid of their current candidate, they win. If Trump was to step down and get replaced by someone with most of his same policies, without all of the drama orbiting around him, they would probably beat Biden. And there's a host of liberals that could step in for Biden and probably beat Trump. But both parties are going with Trump and Biden. So it's the rematch that a lot of Americans do not want. Looking in the comments real quick, Bazooka says Trump for prison. How many of you folks think that we in America will ever incarcerate a former president? By way of yes or no in the comments, how many of you believe that Trump will ultimately end up serving even a day behind bars? Yes or no? Going back to the box, appreciate you folks tapping the screen. 1,200 of you in here. Wow, we had got up to about 1,300, so I certainly appreciate the numbers. Tap the screen. It helps out the algorithm, which is likely what's causing that. For my YouTubers, certainly feel free to smash that like button. Drop a subscription if this is the type of civilized dialogue you enjoy. This is what we do Monday through Friday. We're here 1 p.m. daily. Going back to the box. Q Finney, appreciate you holding on. Good afternoon, Q. I'm assuming you're not, when I say left of Bernie Sanders to right of QAnon, I'm assuming you're not that, but I don't know what happened with my last caller. Biden won't be there. How can Biden debate, or will he? Yo, I don't know. Let me just say this. Will Biden debate Trump? My humble opinion, if I'm advising Biden, I would suggest that he use what Trump did in the Republican, the push for the Republican nomination. Trump chose not to debate the other 9 candidates. Biden can step it out now, and if Trump complains, you didn't show up to debate, I don't have to either. Trump has opened up the door now for future candidates to say, well, you guys accepted it from Trump. If I was Biden or I was advising Biden, I would tell him to skip the debate. Fact is, overwhelmingly, most American voters in this country, most of the constituents already know who they're going to vote for. The debate is not going to change much. Because Biden routinely stutters, routinely has gaffes, he can only lose. Fact is, and I know my beloved MAGA may not like what I'm saying, and I'll go back to the box right after this. There is far more accountability for Biden's flaws on the left than there is for Trump's flaws on the right. If Trump gets up there and has a gaffe, the right doesn't give a damn. If Biden does it, you'll get folks like Charlemagne the God on the Sunday show saying this guy does not sound good. The left is critical of Biden's gaffes. The right is not of Trump's. So then why appear on television when only you can be judged for fucking up? If I'm Biden or I'm his advisor, we skip the debate. Going to the box. I know what happened with my last color, but we'll keep it going with Iyanna Rice. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program if the YouTube stays on. Yo, to stay on longer, Tim Kenneth, I don't quite get that. Iyanna Rice. Am I pronouncing that right? Hopefully, good afternoon. Rice, are you there? Rice, are you there? Okay, apparently she either tuned out or she's doing something. I hear the device, but I don't hear the person. David, was you there to prove there was funny business in the election? We could talk about the election all damn day. I got an opinion on that. But real quick, by the way, before I go to the next caller, there is some sort of a strike in regards to taking freight to and from New York. Truckers are angry that Trump lost this colossal lawsuit last week, $355 million or whatever. So many in the trucking industry are going to respond by boycotting New York. We'll see how it goes, but I think it's kind of funny to some degree. I don't think it's going to stop New York because there are a lot of truckers that are going to look at it and say more for me, but we'll see how it goes. But they are striking. First of all, what one judge does should not place the responsibility on the entire state. The city of New York, the state of New York don't have shit to do with that judge. Judges rule against our beliefs and against our principles all the damn time. If a Texas judge, let me give you a perfect example. If a Texas judge rules that a pregnant mom should be forced to carry a baby to term even though the baby is going to die and her life is at risk, would you support boycotting the whole state of Texas? Because that happened. That happened in real life. So listen, this selective outrage is questionable at best. Going back to the box, truckers hate making money is hilarious. All right, going back to the box. I don't know what's going on with the box. We'll try it one more time with Vegas conservative. And that one's going crazy too. I do apologize, folks. I'm trying to bring the box up. It is just really acting weird today. Let's try it again with Isabella. If you're not a independent trucker, you'll go where you're told. Good point. If you're working for a company, you don't have the right to turn down loads. I get the point you're making. I'm really trying to go to the box, but it's really giving me trouble. I don't like to ramble on without the conversation. We'll give it a second, and we'll try again. It's going to take people's money with those ridiculous shoes. How many of you folks cannot wait to get your hands on a gold pair of Trumper high tops? Did you see the shoe? Now, Kanye West, who has gotten in a lot of political trouble recently, his shoes did look nice. Who the hell designed those shoes? Even if you favor Trump 100%, you gotta admit them shoes are fucked up. For you folks who are old enough, maybe like yours truly, that grew up in the 70s and 80s, do you remember taking the first pair of shoes a baby wore and you covered them in bronze or whatever and you turned them into a pair of bronze shoes for a memento? That's what those shoes look like. Who the hell would do that to a pair of shoes? Wow. But they do look like, if you guys who are old enough to remember when they used to bronze your child's first pair of shoes, they look like that. And they want $300 for a pair of them. Now, we're talking about fabric shoestrings which bend all of the damn time, like your shoestrings when you bend them, with all this gold. It's got to be gold flaking everywhere if you wear them. Isabella, good afternoon. Isabella, are you there? Okay, once again, I don't know what's going on with the box, but we'll keep trying it because we like to run a program. But yeah, $399 for gold shoes. Imagine showing up to the court with those on. You ever heard of the phrase, what are those? I mean, like, did any design creativity go? It's just got a big letter T on the side. Now, it doesn't, regardless of whether you support Trump or not, we can debate that all day long, but they could have made a better looking pair of shoes. They could have made shoes where even liberals are like, I don't fuck with Trump at all, but them shoes are tight. Them shoes are so bad, even MAGA's like, what the hell are those? I don't know if they made those overnight. They just grabbed a piece of cheap-ass Converse and dipped them in bronze or something, but them shoes are awful. $399. Why don't I just give you the money, sir, as a donation? Keep the shoes. Keep the shoes. I don't, you heard somebody try to, sell you something like some Girl Scout cookies or something. You like, I just want to donate some money. I don't need the cookies. And that's what it really looks like. You can keep the shoes, sir. I'll just give you the $399 for your campaign, sir. Good luck going forward, but I'm not going to be seen dead with those shoes on. Going back to the box. Oh, Q Finney, let's try it one more time. I don't know what's been going on with the box, but yeah, what are those? Certainly, shoes now the shoes may turn into maybe an investment. Maybe in the future, those shoes will be worth something. Q, good afternoon. You got an echo. You got an echo.
Hold on, you turned down. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I don't want to hear me. Are you on Bluetooth?
Fix that, man. I'm on my phone. No, I'm on TikTok.
You're really echoing, man. Okay, I'm gonna have to unfortunately drop you because I can't communicate with myself. I won't be able to hear your point because everything I'm saying is coming back at me. I will continue trying to move this on until we actually make this work right. Beers 723. You'll see them at the nearest thrift shop. Now you're not gonna. Oh my God! You think Trump shoes are gonna be in the thrift shop? Beers, good. What the fuck? I cannot make the box work today. Those shoes are selling for over $2,000 on eBay, says John Sanders. Are they being charged $2,000 or are they really? Why would you purchase a pair of shoes for $2,000 today that were just being sold for $399 yesterday. Have they sold out? They're going for $2,000. Now, I'll tell you myself, even though I truly believe the shoes are a work of ugliness, first thing came to my mind is, it is a political artifact, and it may be worth money down the line. So I did consider, like, damn, do I want to pay $300 for this shit? You invest in other things, you trick off money. I thought about it from that aspect. Purchase the shoes, put them in an airtight container, and leave them that way. I thought about it, and that could be why some folks are buying them, but I don't think you're going to see too many people showing up to the court in some Trump jumpers. Continue to move the program on if I can ever do so. Everyone I'm bringing up is coming in and going out. People like that. People like they're going to be worth money. Yeah, that's what I think so, too. You've been hacked. Apparently, that does seem to be a concern there in the comments. I don't know why I cannot bring up guests. Join my stream. I'm actually too busy working on my own stream. That's what she said. They're being told they won't get them till April, then July. Then I'm not buying them. I'm not going to pay money for something I got to wait for months later. If you don't have the shoes in stock, don't sell them. I'm not a big connoisseur of tennis shoes to begin with. I've only had one pair of Jordans in my life. I don't purchase stuff like that. But like I said, it might turn into an artifact. I considered it. Nevertheless, they're just so ugly. My God, they put everything in gold. There really is, other than the damn flag, there is, and not to mention, who the hell wants the United States flag on the heel of their shoe? It's a really, really homely looking creation. It really is. I'd rather you put Trump's face on it or something to show us an artifact of Trump. It's an ugly shoe. I don't have any other way to describe it, and I would try to play devil's advocate. It's a really, really ugly shoe. El Rock, I have not been able to bring in a actual guest, and I'm trying. El Rock, good afternoon.
You got me on the air here? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, finally. So, all
right, you got a touchdown. Good for you.
Hey.
I don't know if you heard of the World Economic Forum. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
All right, so my belief is, I'm not anybody special or anything, but I'm just reading between the lines, and I do read different sources. This World Economic Forum is trying to get power over the whole world, and United States is the biggest problem for them because of your Constitution. Your Constitution is the most ironclad freedom of piece of paper that any country has in the world. I'm Canadian. I live up in Canada. We had problems with our leader, and he's liberal, which is like Democrat for you guys. And he's done many things to our protesters. He had police beat us down.
Damn.
In Ottawa.
But wait a minute. When you say our Constitution in America is ironclad, you do recognize the history of America, right?
Yes, I know American history. I'm big on history because to understand what's going on today, you have to know history.
Okay, so when you say our Constitution is ironclad, the reason I ask you about history is because throughout most of American history, a large portion of this country was not free. I mean, folks that look like me didn't get free until 1964, almost 200 years after the country came around. So I don't think the Constitution is what you should give credit for America the way it is right now.
Okay, I'm not saying it's perfect, but what I am saying is, for example, I have a 1 acre lot. Okay, I live on a house. Government can at any time come and say, you know what, we're taking your house. This is what it's worth. You have to take the money. Mm-hmm. I can't say no. You guys own a piece of land. You say no, they can't take your property.
I don't know if David Koresh or something. We've had eminent domain here. It does happen here too. It absolutely. I mean, a lot of our highway system literally kicked out African American housing to build a highway through town. I mean, we've had a lot of homeowners in this country lose their property as well. It happens here.
I like to see the legalities on that because I do know in American law they can't just take your property if you say no.
No, they can't just take it if you say no, but if they say eminent domain, they can take you to court and prove that the city needs your property more than you do, and they do it all the time.
Yeah, I had never heard of that, so I can't really have an opinion on it.
Okay.
So
All right.
if you know that for a fact, then
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I'm 1,000% sure of that. That if they want to build a shopping mall that they believe would bring a ton of money to the area, and your house is in the way, they could take you to court on the grounds that this city benefits more from this than your house, and they likely can win. They do it all the time.
Right. Like, I'll give you another example. Up here in Canada, they're doing censorship of our media.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain things they can't post in our media.
Okay.
Our media's corrupt. And, when you have mainstream media, it's actually being funded by our federal government. So you imagine, you can see the conspiracy in that, right? When your federal government's actually giving billions of dollars to the news outlets, you don't think that's coming for free, right?
No, I agree anytime. I believe in the phrase.
And then they're trying to control the social media like China does, right? There's certain things that you can't post, and it gets screened by the government.
Yeah, but how do you feel in this state? There are politicians that are controlling what a kid can read in schools. I mean, isn't that the same thing?
Say that again. I didn't get all.
There are politicians in this country that are controlling which books a child can read in schools. Isn't that the same thing? Banning the media? Books or media?
Well, no, the books is education. I mean, I believe every country uses the school to mold society the way they want society. And that's why, if you're rich enough to put your kids in private school, because then you get a real education.
But what is the difference between paying off the media and paying off the school board to take out what you don't want folks to hear? It's kind of the same thing.
Well, the school system's more to mold people like a piece of clay long term, where the media is for the short term to control society into the way that they want you to think, to have control over it.
So is either one of them any less bad?
No, they're both bad, but they're bad in different ways.
Okay. All right, because we do that here in America. We do control.
Yeah, we do that here too. We have books like that here too as well.
All right.
And we have, right now, it's like if you're 12-year-olds and you're 12 years old, you don't have any parental rights over your child when it comes to sex changes. My 12-year-old right now wants to say, hey, Dad, I want to get surgery done. I can't say no legally. The government can take my kids away if I try to inhibit it. That's the stuff that's going up here in Canada.
How often do you actually, because you mentioned a child being able to have a sex change if they desire, is that something common there? Do you have a lot of 12-year-olds in your country wanting to change their sex?
I'm not privy to that, but I'm way up north. I'm in north part of Ontario, like up in Sudbury. So you don't see that much. I'm not in the Toronto area, so it probably happens more in a liberal city like Toronto.
Yeah, but wouldn't they be saying something if it was actually happening? Wouldn't the right-wing media in your country that is speaking out against it, wouldn't they cover those stories? I mean, if they're not presenting stories,
no, they're all bought by the government who supports it.
So there is no right-wing media in your country?
Not really, no.
Oh.
There's small little outlets that are, but all the mainstream is left.
Okay. So what you're saying is a 12-year-old can change their sex, but you don't have any knowledge that they're actually doing it.
No, like the government talks about it. Like there's a debate between our premier in Alberta. It's like your state, our provinces.
Right.
And she is actually taking a strong stance against it. She's saying, we're in control of our health system. We have like free health care, right?
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that free health care? Would you rather do the United States system where you got to go to work and get it?
You get cancer, right? And then you guys got better care if you have the money. But most of us, let's face it, we can't afford to have $200,000 sitting there to go to, say, cure the cancer you may get or something like that. I mean, it's crazy. I think healthcare should be free for everybody. That's my opinion. The right to life.
You do know that is a liberal mindset because that's where all the resistance.
I'm not totally right or left. I'm just a reasonable person. I believe in freedoms, but I also believe in being compassionate to your
fellow. Would you suggest, because you said I believe in freedoms, but I believe in being compassionate and I'm a reasonable person. If someone believes that she shouldn't have universal health care, do you see them as unreasonable and lacking compassion?
Yes.
That's the right in this country. Most of the right were against universal health care.
I know there's a party we have too that's called the People's Party. I was going to vote for them because I liked some of their principles, but then when they told me that they had that stance, they lost my vote.
All right. Last question. I do got to move it on, but in Canada, do you guys have the same right to bear arms that we do in America?
No, definitely not. They're actually confiscating our guns right now. That's why I wanted to actually talk to you about with your Second Amendment rights. That's ironclad compared to what we have. We have what's called a PAL. We have to go for a course to be able to purchase a firearm.
Would you prefer to get rid of that course and give folks a gun whether they know how to use it or not?
No, I agree with the course. I'm not saying that. But what I don't agree with is the gun confiscation that's happening right now. They're actually confiscating everybody's pistols and anything like a AR-15. I'm actually a gun owner myself. And they want to confiscate a lot of guns that we already purchased. Like they call it the buyback program. So the thing is, America has the ironclad Second Amendment where they can't do that, where we don't. Our Charter of Rights can be changed at any time.
How often do you have children losing their lives in schools to gun violence?
Not very often. We have more. What the problem is actually in our country. None of these, we had maybe 2 incidents of mass shootings within like the last 50 years that was done by a legal gun owner. The rest of the gun violence in this country has been done with illegal guns that weren't purchased at a store. They were actually smuggled in from the States on the black market.
All of the guns come from us. I got to move it on, though, El Rock. Appreciate you coming in.
I want to say one more thing, though.
Real quick.
So the world, what I am saying about Trump is, and I do believe this, he's trying to stop the World Economic Forum enslaving all of the United States from the globalists of the World Economic Forum, and that's why I think this election is very important to let you know.
All right, appreciate you coming on. Gonna be hard to do that in 4 years. That's the max he could serve unless he becomes a dictator.
So he's got to find a successor that has the same beliefs as him and to take over the reins for him. That's what he's got to do.
Fair enough. Appreciate you coming in, all right. All right, looking in the comment, and what he stated toward the end, I think there's a lot of folks that do believe that Trump is our weapon against global elitists. Some folks refer to it as a deep state, the George Soros types. Now, others view that as, conspiracy wonderland. But there are folks who believe what my last caller said. Looking in the comments, or become a dictator himself, says user. Fair enough. And PFL85 says he will not be president. Real quick for my YouTubers. Smash that like button. A lot of you folks are new to the program. Understand that we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. The program goes left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. So you're going to hear opinions that you may favor and others that you think are out there because this is indeed an uncensored format. Looking in the comments, and by the way, like I said, smash that like button. A subscription, if you will, and the same on YouTube. 105,000 likes, 1,100 of you in here. Thank you. Could be anywhere you want to be on social media. Glad to have you here. When people blink that much, they are lying, says. I do that a lot. Folks talk about that. Look, I got a hell of a lot going on at the same time. I'm running 2 platforms. I'm trying to run a decent program. I'm debating with some of the most educated and the opposite of educated simultaneously. Give your boy a little time to blink, all right? But I appreciate the input. Going back to the box, real quick in the comment section, Chosen King. Now, that's a hell of a statement. Yeah! Novocaine. Thank you for the hat and mustache. Once again, I tried to bring a guest up, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Donald Trump is going to jail in 2025. Yikes. So that means he's not likely to win the presidency, is what you're saying. Uncle Ricky says Trump is going to jail. Tone Capone, it rhymes, says you are doing a great job, bro. Thank you. Thank you. Even while I'm blinking a few times. Thank you for that. I think he's going to be president that got locked up. I think he's going to be a president that got locked up, says user. So folks do suggest that Trump can still be more effective than Biden if he is incarcerated. So maybe you're on that train. Again, sir, please accept my apologies. I don't know what was going on there, but hey, There's no issues with the program. We allow free speech. I live in the UK. Gun deaths are very rare. You won't get shot over a parking space or a road rage, says Brian Prescott. Wow. America is not, I hate this, responsibly. In my opinion, America's not responsible enough for everybody to have guns. I really do believe that. I think America in 1950 was responsible enough. But the way our country is structured now, single family households, the wages have not went up, so a lot more people are poor or working poor. I just don't think the country is structured right now to justify giving everybody a firearm without any training, without any mental evaluation and things like that. The way I put it is this. If you could go back in time and tell a pro-gun 1950, 1960s American what America would be like in 2024, and ask them, do you think it would make sense to put more guns into that type of a population, less guns, or keep it the same? I think most of them would say we probably need to be a little bit more stringent on who we hand out guns. You mean there's going to be people taking Xanax and Lexapro? All of these folks are going to be mentally depressed in 2024? Maybe we need to rethink the gun laws. And what has happened is we've made it easier to get a gun now than it used to be. It's actually gotten easier. So that's where my opinion is a little different. I think that you got to take into consideration the population at hand, and our population has gotten less responsible over the years, not more responsible. And that's why you now have an 18-year-old getting his first AR-15 or something like that, doing things that maybe a 1960s AR holder would not have done. The children were more mature. How many of you folks, like yours truly, grew up in the 70s and 80s? We damn sure were far more mature than the kids growing up now. Most of us by 10 years old could damn near cook and clean up the whole fucking house. They can't do that now. So you don't hand them the same amount of responsibility as you used to. Yet we're continuing to try to do that with disastrous results. Going back to the box, if it works, don't know why we're having so many problems, but John Q 699, and the guns weren't as powerful, says Vision. Yeah, that's spot on. You're not only giving them a gun, but it's considerably more powerful, more capacity. John, good afternoon. Okay, John popped in and once again it went out. Country living best. Well, in the country where you don't have neighbor upon neighbor, everybody's spread out, less grievances, less arguments, country life is different. But when you got everybody living on top of each other in a society that's gotten more depressed, anxiety is everywhere. It's just, you got to rethink what you're doing. And we've become, we've kind of come to a conundrum where, they say if you continue doing what you're doing, you're going to always get what you got. I think we've been able to demonstrate with enough of a data sample that mass killings is not going away in America. If we don't change something, it's not going away in America. It's just not. It's here to stay. I'm having a terrible time bringing up guests. Just literally a terrible time. I don't know if the program is done, if my signal is weak. I'm having a terrible time though. What about vehicles? I'm not on Wi-Fi. That's the problem. I'm on T-Mobile signal.
I'm not talking about you.
No.
I'm talking about the other guests.
Maybe it's that. So let's see if we can run the program then. What do you think about the fact that Trump views Russia completely different than everybody else in Washington and the free world?
Well, Tim, I mean, everybody knows Trump is in, Trump is in Russia pocket. Russia got him by the balls.
What makes you say that?
I mean, because listen to what he said, right? So he said, I don't think Russia had anything to do with it when our Secret Service, our intel, told them that Russia was responsible for the elections. You remember that too?
Well, but they impeached him, and it didn't ultimately culminate into anything. You're talking about the Russian collusion?
Yeah, but not really the Russian collusion. When he went to, what was that place he went over and he talked to Vladimir Putin by himself?
Wasn't nobody else in there?
Yeah.
Him and, Vladimir Putin.
Okay.
And he's like, well, Putin said it wasn't them, so why would it be them?
You know, that's an interesting point you raised, and I guess I'd ask you that as well. Why did Trump, while president, seem to value the information coming from Putin more than he did our own national security services?
I mean, you gotta ask MAGA that, because us people that really know that Trump is in their pocket. They in Trump pocket. The two of them both evil peoples. I mean, Trump is evil. Putin is evil. So
Whoa! You said Trump is evil. Evil. What makes you say Trump is evil?
Tim, I mean, why would you have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people come to the Capitol and say we're gonna march down there peacefully, but we're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? You call an insurrection on the Capitol of the United States. Is that not evil or what?
Well,
that's some evil ass shit, bro.
He's suggesting he told them to go peacefully, and folks like Ray Epps and Antifa caused that, not him.
Ain't no who. Hey Tim, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Listen, have anybody from Antifa been arrested through that whole ordeal? Have anybody from Black Lives Matter been arrested from that whole ordeal, that January 6th shit?
Not that I can recall, no.
Exactly. So there's a point right there, Tim. I mean,
but why do so many people believe that then?
Man, you could. Because I just can't. I don't want to disrespect these people, but they ain't got it all. I don't think they got it all.
Okay.
I don't think they got it all.
So I'm gonna ask you the obvious question: how can you have an insurrection with no weapons? That comes up all the time.
Oh, it was weapons. But it was weapons there. I mean, a stick is a weapon. A flagpole is a weapon. Yeah. Bear spray is a weapon.
Capitol Police on video calmly escorting folks in the building. That's not an insurrection. Why are they letting them in?
Tim, if 50 people come to your front door, you got this one gun you got this one pew pew with like 9 things inside of it, or 8 things, whatever the case may be. You think you're gonna get all of them with them
no.
8 or 9 things in there inside?
You're gonna run out of bullets and they gonna kill your ass. Now going to Ashley Babbitt. Ashley Babbitt.
Hold on, Tim. So if, at the same time, if 50 people come to your front door, you're gonna let their ass in. Yeah. I'm gonna let them in. If you don't let them in, I'm gonna let them in. Yeah. Because I don't want to get unalived.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I do believe that the overwhelming number of adversaries would lead an officer with a service pistol to stand down because, like for instance, the African-American gentleman that shot Ashley Babbitt, the only thing that saved him was the fact that there were other policemen behind the crowd and there was a barrier. Without that, like the black guy running up the steps with the Billy Club, he would have been killed if he had tried to take those folks on. So
exactly. Yeah. So, and again, back to Russia. I'm going to say this.
Hang on. Before you do, I want you to tackle this because this is in the comments. Team King says, but it's our capital. It's the people's building. So how can you criticize them for going into a building that is owned by the taxpayers?
I mean, are you fucking...
All right, go Russia. Let's go to Russia.
That building was for the Congress people only. Period. It was certified in an election at the time. So that means nobody is allowed but Congress members inside that fucking building.
Yeah. It was close.
You could be on the outside of the building, but not inside of that fucking building.
Yeah. Listen, I had to ask the question. I know the answer. You know, every public building.
All over the wall and shit. Come on, man. That's your building to fucking smear shit all over your wall. So go in your house and smear shit all over your wall.
Yeah, I don't listen. Every public building in existence that we own has an office hours. You can't just go to any public building and walk in there at your own free will. You can't go in the police station and just go in the chief's office and sit down. I mean, I agree with you 100%, but I had to ask that question. So going to Putin.
Back to Putin, Tim. If you can remember, Tim, Putin put a hit out on our troops over there in Syria and Iraq.
Yeah.
But Trump, he don't say shit to Putin about it. He never said shit to Putin about it. I don't think Putin might have did that. I don't think he did that. He said that shit too.
Yeah. So Trump is.
So you don't tell me this man is not in this man's pocket. This Putin has some on Trump, just like Trump got some on against every Congress member that will not go against him.
Their
He
lives.
got something on them people.
Their lives. It's not safe to go against Trump if you're a Republican member of Congress. That's what he got against him.
No, he got something else. He got some more dirt on their ass.
All right. So what would be so bad though if we had Trump again?
Man, the whole economy, he want to be a dictator, Tim.
But we had a good economy. But wait a minute.
You want us to be Putin?
But
You want us
Hulk,
to be Russia? You
Hulk.
want us to be North Korea? That's the fucking problem with this dude.
Hulk.
That's the problem.
But Hulk, everybody, wait, Hulk, no one had a problem with Trump's economy. Folks favored that. You don't want that back?
Hell to the no, man. Listen, man, let me tell you something, Tim. Right before in 2019 or 2019, you seen inflation's going up. You seen shit going up. Okay, March of 2020, everything when the shit went down, the country shut down. Everything doubled up under Trump administration. Tissue was it was a roll of tissue for $2 when it was normally 59 cents.
Okay. So last question. Listen.
I'm just keeping it real. I was normally buying freaking 3 slabs of baby back ribs from Sam's Club for $29. I go in there after the fucking pandemic happened. This shit is $56.
Wow.
Everything doubled up. Like I bought a house back then. My pipes should have been costing me like $4 a foot, right? This shit was like $18 a foot.
All right, so last question before I moving on. And by the way, folks, tap the screen. Get your boy to around 125,000. 1,100 of you in here and certainly on YouTube. I'd appreciate if you smash that like button. If you enjoy this type of dialogue without any blocks or bans for the folks that are in the comment section, go ahead and drop a subscription on YouTube. Biden is in office now. Do you think Biden's economy is worse, better, or the same as Trump's?
It's better.
Really?
I'm gonna tell you, you got the infrastructure bill that been passed. You got the Chipping Act bill that been passed. Okay, you got the student loans that he tried to get passed. He got some of the shit done. Biden has done a lot of accomplishments that Trump couldn't get done.
You think Biden is there completely, his cognitive abilities? You think he's really there? You think he's good there?
Tim, I can't answer that question. I'm on from what I see if I go to the right wing news and I go to the left wing news, right? The left wing news have him speaking constantly. He's speaking normal. He'll stutter every night. I fucking stutter. I don't think you can hear me. You can hear me.
You're doing good now.
I mean, but I stutter a little bit. You know what I'm saying? When I get nervous, I start stuttering. Okay, but you go to the right wing news and they got him stuttering, like saying you go and look at the same videos from the left and to the right, and you like, this shit.
That's politics. Yeah, I get it. They're not going to show Biden in a positive light, just like the left is not going to show Trump that way. But Hawk, I do got to move it on. You've certainly been quite energetic with your opinions. You're always welcome back on the program. We have talked before, right?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
We have talked before.
I didn't get this much energy off you last time down, but come on back anytime. Appreciate it, man.
I've been following you, man, since I got on the app, bro, like a year and a half ago.
Oh,
so,
damn.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Much love.
I enjoy you. I watch you when I'm not busy, but yeah, I mess with you.
All right. Appreciate you coming through. All right, moving the program on. Obama handed keys of a good economy to Trump. And a lot of folks do believe that Trump wrote off of Obama's economy. However, I believe in judging someone fairly. And I will tell you this, I believe that if you are the coach of a team, you are responsible for the wins and losses. You don't get to blame other people. If the team is winning, hey, you get the Gatorade thrown on you. Even if you were a terrible coach and the quarterback did it for you, you get a ring. And when Trump was president, folks say, well, that was Obama's economy, so we don't give him any credit for it, knowing that if he had screwed it up, you'd be the first to blame him, which means that the only grade you were willing to give Trump is a bad one. That's not fair. That he don't get any good grade because that's Obama's responsibility. But if the economy goes down, then you suddenly show up and say, well, he screwed it up, he deserves a bad grade. As long as the economy's good and he's in office, he should get credit for it, no matter who handed it to him. Because at any given time, he can screw it up. He certainly can screw it up. So the economy, if you favored it under Trump, he should get credit while he was in office, just judging fairly. And someone says it went down. Okay, everything 45 did was bad, says Renee Black. Yikes. So you don't believe Trump did anything good for the country, just 100% bad, all bad. Man, powerful statement. Looking in the comments, then he can't say he did it in the last 2 years. All right, Trump plain suction. I don't get that one. A new tax, Obamacare. Going to the box, let's see if it works this time with the one and only Sapphire. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Sapphire. Trump has a different view of Russia, seemingly, than anybody else in the free world. Sapphire, good afternoon. What say you?
Oh, 1 second. Alexa, off. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, ma'am.
Okay. So I have a unique take on a lot of things because I watch everything. I sit there and my husband and I both watch everything to see who's telling the truth and everything else. I'm prior military. He did, in fact, say that military are suckers and losers. I don't appreciate that. My husband's prior military. We were both Army. My father served in the Vietnam War, so of course I'm not going to have a major backing for somebody like that.
Okay, so he had some slip-ups in regards to the military. Is that alone enough to disqualify you from voting for him?
I mean, do you really think that Trump was ever a good guy?
Listen, a lot of folks favored the man. A lot of folks liked him. He must have been good to someone.
Because the misogynistic guys liked him because of what he said and did to women. He's never been a good guy.
So
why would anybody think he's ever been a good guy? He's always portrayed himself as a woman grabber, money grabber, robber. I mean, he literally tells people, sue me, I'm not paying your bills.
Wow. So why do you think that if Trump is the man you portray, why do you think he has, I mean, particularly white women, I'm assuming you're a white woman, he does better with white women than the liberals. I mean, he does pretty well with white women. Why do women vote for him if he's that bad?
Look, I think there's a lot of problems in this country, and I think hate is one of them, and I don't exactly know why. But when you take out the racist formula and say that side, MAGA, isn't that, where are you getting that from?
So wait. So you see MAGA as racist?
1,000%. I live in Idaho.
Damn. So give me some example. What makes you think, now Idaho is for the most very white, I'm assuming. What makes you think that?
I'm very white.
Yeah.
First, and no, this isn't offensive. I don't know what's right anymore, and I'm sorry. My first experience with the black population was when I joined the military and I went down to Georgia, and Atlanta scared me. I was 19 years old because I'd only ever met 2 other black people in the state of Idaho where I grew up.
So other than African Americans being darker than you, I mean, what would make you scared? Was it some of the messaging you were receiving in Idaho?
In Idaho. I don't know if you guys know anything about Idaho, but let's just say when I went in the military, people were afraid of me because I lived in Idaho. Now that connotation right there tells you a lot about this state.
Do you see racism in your state?
Oh, heck yes. Hayden Lake is up at northern Idaho, and Hayden Lake was where Nazis were forming. Excuse me, I don't know if I could say that on TikTok.
You're good.
But they were forming a compound up there, and back in the 90s, it was even bombed because they didn't want that here. We tried to get rid of it back in the 90s then.
Wow.
But they're forming it again. You guys don't know what goes on in the rest of the country because not all that gets out. But they formed it again in Hayden Lake.
But
And
do
it's
you
doing
see?
well.
But do you see that group having anything to do with Trump? We talking about Trump?
Yes.
Explain.
There's politicians. One second, Alexa, off. There are politicians that were disgraced politicians that are trying to form a thing called the Great American Readout. Basically, what they're trying to do is take over parts of Washington, parts of Oregon, all of Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming, and forming the Readout. It's called REDOUBT. Google it. It exists. It exists in my state. I don't want to live in my state anymore because I live in fear. I don't agree with racism. I don't agree with Nazis. I don't agree. And that's what I see happening with MAGA. And I don't think all of them are bad. I don't. I think some of them are misled and misinformed. I think they're listening to the wrong people. My dad is one of them. Even though he served in Vietnam, he is now thinking that MAGA is the way to go. And I keep trying to turn him away from that, but it's not happening, and I'm not really trying to kill my father.
I mean, I can really hear the concern in your voice. I want to run this by you. I'm really sorry to hear. I mean, it's really affecting you. I can hear that. Michael on YouTube seems to have a difference of opinion, but I'll run this by you, and you can.
Difference opinion. Why wouldn't there be a difference?
But hear it out. You can certainly respond in kind. I'm not going to limit you. You can respond any way you want. Michael says she's so absolutely wrong. MAGA means America first, which is all Americans are first over anyone else. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, Hispanic like me. So, or Asian, Hispanic. Go ahead.
America first, when that was first used, was with the Triple K.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've certainly heard that.
And yes, it was the Democrats. 1,000%, it was the Democrats. What nobody seems to be paying attention to is the Democrats and the Republicans switch sides. I used to be a Republican. I followed everything about Republicans because they were conservative, and that's what I grew up in. And Idaho is conservative, and that's what I knew. I used to be a Christian. I am no longer a Christian. I will not believe in any of that anymore. I'm sorry. Because I saw exactly how they treated their people.
Wow.
I was one of them.
Wow. Now, may I ask your age? You sound pretty young, but you served already.
47.
Wow. So you've seen a lot that goes against your, I mean, are you considering leaving Idaho?
I keep telling my husband I would love to leave Idaho because I'm afraid of it here.
Wow.
They allow people to walk our streets, carrying guns, concealed and everything else.
That's everywhere, though.
And about that gun thing, I don't want to hear anybody say about we're taking the guns away. No. I have guns. I have a 380. I have a 45 Colt. I have guns. Democrats carry guns too. My husband has an AR-15. But what we don't agree with is people shouldn't have them regulated, that they shouldn't be licensed just like a car.
Yeah, but that's going to be hard to do in a Second Amendment society where folks believe that any type of gun law, such as registration, is a stepping stone
Dems are
towards.
racist. I see that in the comments. Yes, Dems are racist. There's racist everywhere.
Yeah.
But I'm not one, and I don't agree with it. And I don't want my state to be that way, and I'm trying to turn everything blue as much as I possibly can because the only people fighting for our democracy right now is the Democrats.
Do you see Trump? But
I listen to everything.
So, Sapphire, do you see Trump, like many on the left do, as a threat to democracy itself?
Trump is a threat to democracy. Why people don't see that, I don't understand. He's a failed businessman. He's never been a good person. He's never done anything correct. He's always blamed it on the other side. He's never, and this is before politics. I mean, I grew up knowing this man from Oprah and everybody else back in the day. I watched him and everything else. I watched the Apprentice and everything, and I thought, that's a good show and everything. But when I see what he treats people like, he's not a good man. In Scotland, they hate him for a reason. The golf course. He took a lady's water resource away from her, and he wouldn't give it back to her. She was a 96-year-old woman.
Damn. All right, I didn't know Idaho was getting down like that. You've kind of just depressed me. Never been there, but man, that sounds concerning at best. I don't like hearing that. But you're obviously on the ground there, and you know your state.
Google the Great American Readout. Just Google it.
How did you spell the readout part?
REDOUBT. Want to know what that is?
REDOU. Oh, doubt, like doubt. Okay, what does it mean?
Yeah. Like a war term, meaning like the defense.
Okay.
It's going to be a closed-in location where all the haters can go. I'll say it that way because I don't want to say the N-word, which is not the other N-word, but
the Germans, the Germans, 1930 Germans. I get
let's
it.
Just say the red flag with the nice little symbol on it.
Yeah.
Where all they can live and be secure and protect everything and take that over first before they start to take over the rest.
Wow.
That is a thing in Idaho that is being forced down our throats.
You literally sound like you're living a version of American History X. I do got to move on, though. Listen, you're always welcome back. That's disturbing at best. Wow. I mean, it's really concerning, but you're always welcome back. Been an interesting guest. I do have to move it on. Sapphire, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Wow. That was bad. Listen, I'm not going to... I can't speak against her. If that's if the woman is seeing on the ground in her area, it is what it is. She got no reason to lie. Wow, that's disturbing. That's bad. That's really bad. Does anyone even live in Idaho? Apparently you just had 4 college students brutally murdered in Boise last year. They solved it. The guy was in Pennsylvania. I don't know if they'd given him. Did he avoid the death penalty? I don't know, but they made the news for that. But wow, that's bad. That's bad. I live in Spokane, next to Idaho. I don't think she goes out the house. She's 47. She's been out the house before. Listen, doesn't matter what type of community you live in, you know what's going on in your community. A person that's lived in a city or state their entire life that's in their 40s, they know what their community consists of. I'm not going to dispel everything she said. I don't know Idaho. She does. She does. Looking in the comments, handsome, are you a pilot? No. Well, I fly a lot of RC aircraft. Maybe that. I fly jets. I fly helis and things like that. So I've been flying RC aircraft for 20 years. So I like aeronautics. I'll just say that. Anyhow, folks, you know what this is. I do appreciate the 128,000 drones too. Yes, I do fly drones. Been flying those since the invention of the drone. Real quick, appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. 128,000 likes. Been a pleasure. You know how the program works. It is and always will be MAGA friendly. MAGA are always my preferred guests. If you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, follow the program. You're certainly in the right place. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m., you'll find me here. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Catch you later. For my YouTubers, certainly appreciate that. A lot more of you folks that are tuning in daily. I'm trying to get more focused on your comments. Santa Monica for Trump. I love Santa Monica, the Santa Monica Pier and things like that. I usually go to Venice Beach, rent a bike, ride all the way up to the pier and beyond. I like Santa Monica, but you got to have some money. I'm from Philly, and Democrats have been destroying the black community for years. Ron's opinion don't matter, and would never say that about your opinion here, but Ron's opinion don't matter is the actual name of the individual the statement came from. In regards to Democrats destroying cities, Here's the problem. Why is it that no matter how bad the Democrats do, major cities refuse to vote Republican? Generation after generation. That's something that needs to be addressed with the Republican Party. You cannot continue to suggest people are being brainwashed, they want free shit, or whatever comment you use to fill in the blank. There is something about the Republican Party that makes big cities avoid them like the plague. That is an internal issue with the Republican Party that they need to address and quit pretending like it's everything else but their fault. Out of the top 50 largest cities in America, only 9 of them have Republican administrations. And you got to go down to number 15 before you even get to one. I believe that's Oklahoma City. But all of your top cities in America are all Democrat. Election after election after election, even when they seem to be a shithole, as Trump would say. There is something wrong when a country or a major city would rather keep dealing with the party that's giving them a shithole than vote Republican. That says a lot about the Republican Party, that they are avoiding it like the plague no matter how run down the cities are becoming. The Republicans need to realize there is something going on with that party that makes diverse communities avoid it. And quit blaming it on the media, folks being brainwashed, folks wanting free shit, or things like that. It's something about that party itself. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. 1 p.m. tomorrow. You know how we run the show. Thank you for the subscriptions. Those who have smashed the like button. See you tomorrow.